I want that grandchildren money. That's what I'm after. So that's my next thing, investments.
That's Redmond, a man worth millions, telling you the whole game in one sentence. And he ain't alone.
Like, bro, I don't never ever want to be broke again, so I'm slow to like...
J. Cole, 9 figures in the bank, still scared of being broke. These are the richest rappers alive, living like the rest of us. Let's talk about it. J. Cole. This man is worth somewhere between $60 and $117 million. He wears Crocs in public, eats where regular people eat, and moves through the world like your homie from around the way who just happened to put out a few classic albums. Now, to be fair, the garage does apparently have a Lambo, a Porsche, and a Bentley collecting dust in it. But homie's daily driver is an old Honda Civic. While those foreign joints just sit there like trophies, he forgot he won. He don't ride them, don't post them, don't need nobody to clock that he got them. Cole sat down with Kevin Hart on Heart to Heart and broke down exactly why he moves the way he does. And it wasn't some manufactured humble brag. It was straight up honesty from the soul.
And that just come from fear. It's like, bro, I don't never ever want to be broke again, so I'm slow to like...
When Kevin pushed him on whether that made him frugal or something else entirely, Cole drew a line.
Frugal means you don't spend because you're cheap at. Mindful means, yeah, I'll splurge, I'll treat myself, there's things that I do.
I would definitely say mindful.
Built a studio in his crib, put in a home gym, threw up a basketball court so he could hoop whenever without driving to no Lifetime Fitness and begging for court time. Everything he spends on comes back to him in some way. Energy, creativity, freedom. In the business lane, Cole is just as calculated, famously patient with deals, never chasing the quick renegotiation bag, always letting leverage stack up before he moved. And on the community side, he took his actual childhood home in Fayetteville and converted it into a shelter for folks who needed it, not a donation to some faraway organization. His home, the crib he came up in. Slim Thug. Slim Thug is a multimillionaire built on music money stacked on top of Houston real estate money. The man developed affordable housing across Houston while simultaneously dropping rap records and running his own operation completely independent. And through all of that, through the fame, the tours, the real estate portfolio, this dude never stopped wearing budget tees and cheap shorts like he's headed to the cookout and not a board meeting. His message has always been clear. Assets over liabilities. Avoid designer clothes. Skip the car notes. Skip the club tabs. Skip the things that feel like flexing but actually cost you your future. He came into the game already knowing his come-up story goes all the way back to high school in Houston when he was out on 249 selling mixtapes out of his backpack before a soul knew his name.
In those early days of Swisher High selling mixtapes, it taught me my value early.
By graduation, homie already had 3 or 4 cars and was touching close to a H100,000 in cash. Not from a label, not from a co-sign, but from selling tapes wholesale out of his own operation. He eventually opened his own CD store. All of that before he was even fully in the rap game as people know it. E1. This man is a millionaire rapper and educator who built his whole brand around something that sounds almost revolutionary in hip-hop. Not spending money you don't have on things you don't need to impress people who don't care. He paid off his student loans, he paid off all his debt. He turned the moment he zeroed out his balance into a whole record. And for his daily driver, a 1998 Honda Accord with over 300,000 miles on the odometer that he refuses to replace. But here's where the story starts, because D1's whole journey with money goes back to one specific moment in 9th grade English class in New Orleans. A moment that lit a fire in him that never went out. A girl named Tracy called out his Wrangler jeans in English class in front of everybody. And instead of going home tight about it, D1 turned that into his life's mission.
Why do your jeans always be so tight fitting on you? This when skinny jeans wasn't in. She's like, why your jeans always just so tight? Like they not, like you wear Wranglers. You know what I mean? She was like, why do you wear Wranglers all the time? And when she told me that, I was like, yo, I gotta get my money up.
He didn't want the money so he could flex. He wanted the money so he'd never feel like that again. Never feel small because of what he had on. Never feel like the world was looking down at him because his mama could only afford what she could afford. And purpose money is what keeps the 1998 Honda Accord running past 300,000 miles while the millionaire behind the wheel smiles every time he pulls up to a show and somebody looks at the car and looks back at him and can't connect the dots. Eminem $250 million. Say that out loud one time. $250 million. That is what Marshall Bruce Mathers III has accumulated over a career that didn't just change hip-hop. It changed popular music at a global level. And this man lives in Clinton Township, Michigan, the same quiet area for decades. Keeps his head down, stays out of the blogs, moves with his family, and treats every dollar like it might be his last. A mentality built from poverty and survival that never fully went away, even when the money came. Eminem does have a car collection worth around $4 million. Fords, Porsches, American muscle, but you'll rarely see him waving it around on social media or pulling up to events for clout. No ice dripping off the neck, no entourage burning through the budget, no ridiculous vacations posted for the timeline. Just Marshall, his daughter Haley, his Michigan roots, and an almost monk-level commitment to not performing his wealth for people who didn't earn it with him. Killer Mike. Killer Mike, Michael Render, runs a chain of Atlanta barbershops called Swag Shop and has been pouring his platform and his paper into the black community for years. His home in Atlanta is nice, but by his own admission, it's well below what he could afford at his income level. The real splurges are a Dodge Hellcat for himself and a Mercedes for his wife. His whole financial worldview sounds like his grandparents distilled into a rap verse. He understands that individual wealth without community wealth is just selfishness with better furniture. And he's been saying it publicly loudly for years.
The annual African American spending,
What we all spend together.
what we all collectively spend together, is 1.35 trillion now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How do we convert income to generational wealth? Because whether we hustle to get it,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Whether we gamble to get it,
Yeah.
whether we
Yeah.
rob to get it,
Yeah.
He lives like a successful working class man because in his mind that's exactly what he is. Just one with more resources to deploy for the people around him. Run the Jewels money isn't going to chains and bottles. It's going to barbershop chairs and block revitalization. That's the move. Bun Bernard Freeman Bunby teaches a course called Hip Hop and Religion at Rice University in Houston, Texas, while simultaneously running Trill Burgers, a Houston burger concept that has generated multi-million-dollar revenue and become a genuine cultural institution in the H. No ridiculous car collection splashed across Instagram. No reports of some mega mansion on the outskirts of Houston. Every dollar he generates goes right back into the restaurant, the classroom, and the culture. After losing his UGK partner, Pimp C, Bun made a deliberate choice about what the rest of his life was going to look like. And he chose legacy over flash. He chose staying versus shining. He chose Houston over Hollywood. He sat down and spoke on what keeps a man grounded through all of it. The losses, the success, the pressure.
Men, I'm talking to you. You ain't gonna never get no real money unless you get smarter than you. I'm just telling you.
So that's the tip he has to give to everyone out there who wants to be wealthy. Kendrick Lamar. His first ever home purchase was a modest $524,000 house. Remarkably grounded for a man already operating at major label platinum levels. Complex was documenting his deliberately cheap personal habits as far back as 2014, when the world was just catching up to what TDE already knew. The spending philosophy was always move quiet, stay practical, don't let the money change the fundamentals, buy what you need, invest the rest. Now, full transparency, Kendrick's real estate portfolio has grown significantly, and reports suggest his property holdings total in the range of tens of millions of dollars. So, he's not riding a bicycle through Compton anymore. But the person behind all that property, the private, community-rooted, deliberately unflashy human being, still carries those same values he had when he was just a kid from Compton trying to get his people to hear something real. The mansion got bigger. The principles didn't move. Lupe fiasco. Chicago's South Side sent this man into the world with a skateboard, a bookshelf full of philosophy, and zero interest in a typical rap star performance. Lupe Fiasco, Wasalu Muhammad Jocko, is worth over $6 million and directs that money toward tech projects, community causes, and activist work rather than designer wardrobes and jewelry cases. But what really separates Lupe on this list is that he's been the loudest intellectual critic of the fast money culture that hip-hop sometimes glorifies, and he backs that critique up with how he actually lives. He sat down one time and put the math on it in the most surgical way.
We chased riches and got rich for a couple years, but now we finna be poor for 40 years. And we ain't gonna have no freedom. There's those calculations that don't make no sense. And that's what we put out there in hip hop is if we need to get money now. It's like, dog.
Then you got 40 years of paying for all of it financially, legally, spiritually. Lupe looked at that calculation, looked at the culture trying to seduce him into it, and said, nah, minimal in his fashion, deliberate in his spending, purposeful in how he moves through the world. The man understood before it was fashionable that the real flex is what you build, not what you wear to tell people you built it. Common Chi Town's conscience, Grammy winner, Oscar winner, and a man who took $45 million in career earnings and decided to point the majority of it at meaning rather than performance. Common splits time between Chicago, where he's been involved in the South Side's billion-dollar community revitalization push, and Los Angeles, where his film and television career keeps adding to the bag. He's got a Rolls-Royce and a Bentley, so he ain't going to pretend homie is eating ramen. But the philosophy behind his wealth has always leaned toward legacy. Which projects matter, which communities need what he has, which investments build something that outlasts him. Common has prioritized activist work, meaningful artistic projects, and community development over the celebrity excess that rappers of his stature often fall into. He's been to the White House. He's given speeches at universities. He's turned down bags that would have required him to compromise what he stands for. And in an industry that treats rappers like disposable content machines, Common has been building a legacy for 30 years by being consistently, stubbornly himself. That's a different kind of secured. Talib Kweli. Talib Kweli built his whole operation outside the major label system, and that independence runs all the way through to how he lives. He runs Javi Media, tours consistently, and keeps a lifestyle that matches his values to the dollar. Modest home, no flashy vehicle collection, no public displays of wealth designed to prove something to somebody. His money goes into the music and the movement. Full stop. 3 decades in the game, still here, still respected, still getting booked, and never once needed to show you his account balance to prove he made it. The anti-flex is the flex for Ka, and the fact that he's still working, still relevant, and still independent after all this time is the receipts. Yasin Bey, one of the greatest rappers alive, chose a silence that most industry people can't understand. Yasin Bey, the man the world knows as Mos Def, stepped away from the mainstream and chose a life that looked nothing like what his catalog could have bought him. He lived simply. He lived privately. At one point, he was in South Africa, away from the noise of American celebrity culture, focused on faith, creativity, and a peace of mind that no amount of chain-wearing or brand deal chasing was going to give him. Black on Both Sides alone is a catalog that could have been leveraged into a decade of guest appearances, talk shows, reality television, and celebrity brand deals. Instead, Mos Def looked at all that opportunity for performance and said, "Not for me." He chose exit. He chose quiet. He chose to be an artist before anything else. In a business where being a brand usually wins over being an artist every time, there's a real courage in that move that doesn't get recognized enough. The pressure to stay visible, stay spending, stay relevant in the traditional industry sense is suffocating. Yasin Bey looked at it, decided it wasn't worth his soul, and dipped. His legacy lives in the music. Somewhere right now, the man is probably just living simple, and that was always the point. Tech9 Tech Na Aaron Yates has built a net worth estimated between $20 and $40 million without ever signing to a major label or compromising his vision for a check. The Strange Music Compound in Kansas City houses recording studios, merchandise operations, and reportedly even a car wash. He has access to Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and Rolls-Royces, but these are largely tied to the business compound, not personal peacocking. And most importantly, he stayed in Kansas City. He spoke on what the financial picture actually looks like from the inside versus how it looks to family and people on the outside.
You know, after you're on the Forbes list and for $8 million, you know what I'm saying, all your family members think that you might be sitting on the money and not helping nobody, you know what I'm saying, but they don't know what we do with our money. We reinvest. That's how we have a successful, the rhyme got me going.
That's the reality of independent wealth that people don't talk about enough. The money gets reinvested back into the artists, back into the staff, back into the infrastructure that keeps the whole operation running. That ain't the life of someone floating on a yacht. That's the life of an entrepreneur who built something real and pours every dollar back in to keep it standing. Tech9 is a titan who lives like a builder, not a baller. And 30+ years deep, the building is still going up. Russ, if there's one name on this list that made the label system look foolish just by doing the math out loud, it's Russ. Russell Vital. Russ is one of the rare artists who not only turned down the traditional label system, but built $1 million per month streaming empire while retaining every single master recording he ever made. No cosign, no compromise, just leverage, patience, and an understanding of the business that most artists don't get until it's too late. He sat down and explained the exact moment the light came on about why the label relationship wasn't adding up.
I'll just get told no. Without having to cut you in.
Right.
I'll just get told no. So
what am I sharing the profits in?
If you can get told no, makes no sense.
Exactly.
I'll keep 100% and also get.
That is the cleanest piece of business logic in the history of rap negotiations. Why split your bag with somebody who can't even guarantee the result? The label can call Spotify and still get told no. Russ can call Spotify and get told no for free. So why is 50% of everything going somewhere that only delivers the same outcome he can get himself? He kept 100% and took his L solo. Except when he won alone, too. Russ owns his entire back catalog, keeps overhead low, drives practical cars, and invested in real estate, including a setup with a backyard basketball court. When he finally did partner with Columbia for radio access, His non-negotiable from jump was keeping his Tokor catalog untouched. They agreed because the train was already moving. And when the deal stopped serving him, he paid $1.5 million out of pocket to walk away while sitting on a #1 radio record at the time. That's the behavior of a man who knows exactly what he's built and isn't willing to stay somewhere that undervalues it out of comfort. Independent to the bone, rich on his own terms. Macklemore. This is a man whose whole career was built on the idea that you can move product. Talking about not buying product, Macklemore wrote a platinum record about thrift shopping and made it feel cooler than any designer ad ever has. Ben Haggerty Macklemore does own a Seattle waterfront mansion worth over $4.5 million and has a collection of classic Cadillacs and Jeeps. So, let's be real. Homeboy upgraded. But the spirit behind the brand, the values that made thrift shop and same love and everything in between actually connect with people on a human level has stayed consistent. The lifestyle ain't maximalist. The public profile ain't performative. He's in Seattle with his family, keeping his head down, making music that means something and not doing the things that would trade authenticity for clout. In an industry where the pressure to perform your success is relentless, Macklemore has spent over a decade doing the quiet work and letting the music carry the weight. That's a different kind of discipline. That's the discipline of a man who knows the difference between building something real and just looking like you built something real. Redman. Redman has been open about what he's actually chasing with his money. And it ain't what you see on most Instagram pages. In his own words,
Niggas that show money, they ain't got no money. They ain't really got no fucking money.
Then he laid out what he's actually working toward.
I want that grandchildren money. I want that grandchildren money. That's what I'm after. So that's my next thing. Investments, learning, being in the right circle to learn, business.
The kind of wealth that outlives you, that your great-grandkids can feel 3 generations from now without knowing where it came from. That's what Redmond is working toward, and everything else is just noise. He turned down $500,000 endorsement deals for vape pens and products he didn't believe in because he understood that Redman and Methman's names are sacred, the most valuable asset either of them owns. He didn't underscore out. That's why they still book shows like it's 1993. That's why the name still means something. The cozy Jersey apartment wasn't poverty. It was a man who had his priorities exactly right. Millionaire, you know, ridin', the banger about getting pulled over for driving while black. The man who made that record looked at his own industry, watched his peers blow fortunes on the exact kind of cars in that song, ran the math, and made a completely different decision with his own bag. Millionaire Hakim Sariki has quietly accumulated somewhere between $30 and $50 million. And a significant portion of that did not come from rap. It came from tech. Early stakes in companies like Lyft and Ring that turned into massive exits at IPO. He studied the investment game, made his moves quietly, and stepped back from the public rap lane while his portfolio kept growing in Silicon Valley circles where most rappers don't even know the zip code. The Houston mansion exists. There's reportedly a Rolls-Royce in the picture somewhere. But the philosophy is pure math. Invest in appreciating assets, not depreciating ones. A foreign car is worth less the second you drive it off the lot. A stake in a tech startup that IPOs is worth hundreds of times what you paid. The man who rapped about riding is now riding the portfolio. And the bag is bigger than any car he ever could have bought. Master P. Percy Miller. Master P is one of the most extraordinary independent success stories in the history of American music. Full stop. He came up from the Kalia projects in New Orleans. Went to college, studied business, moved to Richmond, California, started No Limit Records out of a record store, and built an empire that at its peak was releasing albums almost monthly and dominating the charts simultaneously. And he didn't do it by taking the deal that was being offered. He did it by educating himself on what the best deal was, then walking in prepared to get it.
At the time, I said, what's the biggest deal? So he said, hey, I need $25,000, you know, for retainers to sit down. I said, okay. I went and got the 25 when I came back. He probably thought I was faking, but I come back with the 25 here, man. I said, what's the best deal I could get? He said, the only thing you could get besides the order that Michael Jackson got 22% is a distribution deal.
He explained it like this. He paid $25,000 to sit down with Michael Jackson's lawyer to find out what the best possible deal structure looked like and then went and got that deal. That's not street luck. That's strategy. That's preparation, meeting opportunity, and walking out with a distribution arrangement that made him richer than the label distributing him. Today, Master P has redirected his energy from accumulation to education, teaching financial discipline, business principles, and ownership mindset to the next generation. The empire is still intact. The real estate portfolio still holds, but the mission has shifted from get the bag to teach the bag. 50 Cent, We keeping it a buck with this one because 50 Cent does not live quietly. And he will tell you himself before you even finish the sentence. Private jets, wine cellars, luxury cars, Fifth does not do the humble routine and he is not pretending otherwise. But here's the thing. The man went bankrupt in 2015 publicly embarrassingly in front of the whole industry and emerged on the other side with a rebuilt empire and a completely different relationship to money that is worth understanding. Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, is now worth somewhere between $150 million and $260 million. And the vast majority of that rebuilt bag came from investing, not performing. He once sat down and talked about the real cost of performing well through jewelry.
Yeah. It's a sad thing, but for me, I don't care about jewelry.
Hell nah.
I don't give a
It's insured.
Yeah, give me a nice car, I'll jump out of that with nothing on. I don't care about it.
And then he put the real jewel on the table.
Because I feel like at a certain point when you're an artist, your face is a jewel.
Yeah.
So it's like Nipsey Hussle, face was a jewel.
50 Cent watched people die behind that calculation. He watched PNB rock. He watched Pop Smoke. He learned the lesson the hard way himself. And now the flex is the portfolio, the empire, the show deal, the equity, not the wrist. Bankruptcy was the education, the rebuild was the exam. And the result is a man who moves with more financial intelligence now than he ever did when the first checks hit. Ice Cube. Ice Cube is worth approximately $160 million accumulated across 4 decades in entertainment. And he built it with the same mentality he's had since the beginning. Buy what you need, don't front, don't waste it. Trying to impress people who won't be there when the money is gone. Joe Rogan asked him flat out, what was the very first thing you bought when you started making money?
Oh man, I bought a Honda Accord. I bought a Honda Accord, you know. They had just come out with a new model. It was about 20 G's.
Because it was what he needed and he wasn't going to buy something just to perform success for people who weren't even watching yet. Meanwhile, he watched his NWA homies take $35,000 checks and immediately cop Corvettes on the same day, leaving themselves with basically nothing after the purchase. Cube saw that in real time, laughed, and kept his Honda Accord. That instinct, buy what you need, secure what you have, don't let the flex eat the foundation is what carried Ice Cube from South Central to 160 million empire while staying connected to the community that raised him. He's got the Marina Del Rey mansion now. He's got the classic cars. But the man who started with a Honda Accord never lost the Honda Accord mentality. And that's the whole story right there. Lil Dicky. And finally, the funniest, most self-aware, most genuinely cheap man in the history of rap, Dave Bird, known to the world as Lil Dicky, the comedian-rapper who built an entire career on the principle that saving money is the real flex. The song was called Save That Money. The concept was spend as little as humanly possible to make the biggest splash possible. And instead of budgeting out a normal production and shooting it like every other rapper would have done, Lil Dicky grabbed a bare-bones camera crew and spent his days knocking on strangers' doors in Los Angeles, asking if he could use their mansions, their yachts, their clubs for free. He sat down on The Rich Eisen Show and told the whole story.
And I genuinely am a cheap person who has a lot of pride in like the ways in which he saves. So the song, you know, obviously you hear a lot of rap songs about spending and there's an ironic twist, but it's not just irony for irony's sake. Like I genuinely have pride in saving money.
He got rejected 49 times. 49 doors in a row said no. On the 50th door, a sweet elderly woman named Mrs. K said yes. And because Lil Dicky is exactly who he says he is, he sold her completely on the vision right there on the doorstep. Desperate for that yes, he borrowed Tay's video set. He crashed a nightclub. He crashed a boat. He made one of the most viral rap videos of that year for nearly nothing because that's genuinely who he is, not a character he plays. Today, he's got a multi-million-dollar estate and a hit TV show in Dave, but the frugal comedian energy is still exactly the same. The money doesn't change the math for Lil Dicky. He was built different from jump, and no amount of success is going to make him put on a chain and forget it. Which one of these surprised you? Share in the comments and click on the cards on screen for more.